as you can see by the title, we wanted to know if cross-sex friendships were possible. So we're going to tell you if they are. How many of you guys think that girls and guys can be best friends? Show of hands. Quite a few. All right, hopefully you took our survey. Jesse and Patrick don't think so. Here's a little clip I'm going to show you. That fill notes for us. We're going to have an advertisement. Well,
to get the sound going.
Yeah. Sound. All right. Well, the video. Basically, this guy's going around. He's asking different people, "Do you think girls and guys can be just friends?" And all the girls, "Yeah, we can." All the guys, "Not so much. No, we can't." And he's asking people in the library, and this girl is like, "Oh yeah, he's my best friend. Like we do everything together." And he's like, "So does this guy like you?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, he likes me." She's like, "So then you can't be friends, right?" She's like, "No, we can." He's like, but he likes you? She's like, "Oh yeah, maybe, you're right." So that's what that video was. Sorry that we didn't have the sound, but that basically was our video. And that got us thinking, and then the lit review was more thinking.
Yeah, definitely. This is my original idea, just because I have gone through this where I have a friend, and he ends up having feelings for me, or I end up generating feelings for him. I'm sure that's happened to a lot of you. I've talked to several of my friends, and they all agree it's happened to them as well. When looking through all of the research that I found, it has a lot to do there's a lot of support, a lot of evidence for why it's really, really difficult for men and women to be friends without one or the other wanting more. Just a couple of things. First off, we found that 73% of college undergraduates in one study we found, they all have at least one close friend of the opposite sex outside of their romantic relationship. In the past, we also found that in the past, guys were friends with guys and girls were friends with girls, and it was never really a cross-sex, that didn't really exist. Nowadays, it's becoming more accepted and a little more, definitely more normal that in college situations, there are more cross-sex friendships. I'm sure many of you can vouch for that. Just a couple of things that we found. The evidence, cross-sex friendships are really difficult to have because of, first off, the physical aspect. It's just kind of, that's our human nature. We just naturally it's hard to have the emotional bonding with someone of the opposite sex without wanting the physical aspect. Because if you think about it, a friendship between a man and a woman is pretty much like a romantic relationship, just without the physical stuff. That makes it really difficult, especially for the man. Another thing is cross-sex friendships are really beneficial to us, just because usually, especially with women, it's hard to, not necessarily hard, but just a little bit more difficult to kind of have a give-and-take relationship, because both of the girls are usually, or boys, are usually competing against each other for looks and success and all that. In cross-sex friendships, it's a lot easier to be, to have a little more give and take, and also to feel attractive and to feel wanted by the opposite sex and have attention from them makes you feel more confident. Lastly,
we are going to move on since we're running out of time. Okay. Research questions from Becca?
Okay, so to form our survey we started out with 3 questions that we came up with, which are listed here. Research question 1 was, can cross-sex friendships exist without one party wanting to be romantically involved? Research question 2 is, do females become more emotionally attached than males? And third question was, do males become more physically attracted to females? And how we did this, we put together a survey, and we initially had a question on Facebook asking if you had please take this survey if you have a friend of the opposite sex. We asked them if they were between the ages of 18 to 25 to please take this survey. And we actually got 105 that took the survey, and 37 of them were males and 68 were females. They're predominantly Christians, so that kind of skewed a little bit of the perception. We also used SurveyMonkey, and it was a convenient sampling, which just means if it was convenient for you to take the survey, you just take the survey.
All right, what we found. So these were our 3 questions from our actual survey that we used to figure out to answer our research questions. And for the first question, we found out that it was pretty close, but it was 51% said yes, that they did expect it to turn into something more, or they tried to date. So that kind of answered our question was no, because more people are trying to turn it into something than just stay friends. And 27% of the males said yes, and 27% were female, and 24 were males. And for the second question, we were obviously looking at females, and 14.4% rated an 8 on the scale, the Likert scale from 0 to 10. And this is the highest percentage, but they were more from 7 and up on the females than the males. And for the last question, for the males, we found that 29.7% of the males rated their level of attraction as a 10, which was significant because we didn't have as many males as we thought we should have. But our limitations. Our sample, like Becca said, was mostly Christian, conservative, males and females. The survey itself was a little bit of a limitation because we only could ask a certain amount of questions, and interpretation of our scales. Somebody might have a very different meaning for 2 than someone else. So those were our limitations.
Okay, so obviously this is a very interesting topic that you could take in a million different directions if you wanted to do future research. For example, you could choose to study friends with benefits relationships exclusively. So just one example. Answering our initial research question, is it possible for males and females to remain strictly friends? Based on our research and the literature we reviewed, we would have to say, no, it is not possible. One of the quotes we got from female respondent number 29 pretty much exemplifies this. She said, "This guy used to be my best friend, but after we attempted to make it something more, it got weird. Now that I have a boyfriend, he was unable to respect the boundaries of friendship, so I had to cut him from our lives." So obviously, genders are very, very different in what you expect from a friendship, which makes it very, very difficult to have a strictly friendship relationship between the two. Okay.